Hello, this is Spaceman, and right here in front of me is an alien of a synth. This is called Aparillo by Sugarbytes. Now, today I'm going to explain to you how the synth works, but I'm not gonna go about every different sections of the synth. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a strings patch out of it, and hopefully in the process I will try to explain to you how different parts of the synth work. So let's get started. First, I'll go to this presets menu and I'll initialize this patch. We select the init and then init here. Okay, so Aparillo is an FM synthesis engine. You get two different sine waves here. You get operator 2, operator 1, and this FM fader here controls the depth of the frequency modulation being applied to the sine wave, and the ratio controls the wavelength ratio between the operator and the modulator wave. Okay, so you get two different sine waves which are frequency modulated, and on the right side you have the OP balance. If you have it right at the bottom, you getting sounds only from the operator one, and if you put it up top, you get the sounds from the operator two only. If you keep it at the middle of this, you get a balance of these two sounds. Okay, so let us hear how the synth sounds at first. Okay, so you may say that this is not a sine wave, but let me first disable a few controls here. Command. Okay, now let us take a listen to this. Okay, but you may say that I am playing chords here, but we are getting only monophonic sound. So let's go to the envelope section here, and it is in a unison mode. So let's turn on the polyphonic mode, and let's take a listen to this. Okay, so here we can agree that this is in fact a sine wave and it's playing polyphonically. So let us start shaping the sound with the help of this ADSR envelopes here. So I don't actually know how these two ADSR envelopes are related, but for the strings patch, I know that we need an attack somewhere around 1.2 seconds, decay also somewhere around here, sustain maybe about 60%, and release a bit less, around 300 to 200 milliseconds. I'll also shape this profile similar to that. Go to here, 1.4, sustain a little bit less. Okay, put it up. Okay, now let's hear how it sounds. Okay, so this is starting to sound something like a rising patch, but for strings we would want to have uh, some kind of distortion in there. So for that we can use this bright control here. As I turn up this knob, uh, this fader here, it will convert the sine waves coming from this operator into a sawtooth wave. So let's take a listen to this. Okay, so right now I have this operator balanced. So let me just hear sounds coming from the operator one. So okay, again, here is the knob, the level. It controls the level of output we are receiving from the synth. That is quite intuitive. So brightness has turned all the sine waves coming from operator 1 into some kind of a saw wave. So we also get a control called jitter here. So jitter control is basically turning your sound into some kind of a noise. Let us take a listen to this. Okay, so I definitely do not want to crank it up higher. if I put it on 100%, it sounds almost like a noise. I definitely do not want that. I'll keep it somewhere around maybe less than 20%, anything here. Okay, so format control. Format control, uh, yes, the form control is basically just the format control. You have to turn this on to let it hear. So let's take a listen to how does that sound. This is basically focusing the energy around the lower frequencies. So I want to reduce the brightness here because it's sounding very harsh right now. Let's okay, this is sounding something like right now it's just sounding something like a saw wave. Let's start applying the frequency modulation to this. Okay, this is sounding quite okay. So let me explain to you what this thing right here is. You get the algorithm 1, algorithm 2, algorithm 3. Basically, these algorithms decide how these two operators are related. Uh, in algorithm 1, basically, you hear these two operators as basically in the algorithm 1 mode, these two operators are kind of disconnected and you hear them separately. If you go to algorithm 2, um, the operator 2 here is in some way controlled by operator 1. So it is again modulated by this section here. And algorithm 3 is again different variation of that. So I'll keep it to algorithm 1 for now. And you get this controller right here. This controls the values you get in the ratio. So you get a linear mode here, you get a quantized mode, so you get only few values here, and then you get into the harmonic mode. So when you choose the harmonic mode, you get sounds which are in some harmonic agreement to the sound. If you have it in the linear mode, you can get some kind of atonal effects. Let's take a listen to that. Okay, so I definitely do not want this kind of sounds for my strings patch. Let me turn this to quantized mode. This is sounding somewhat better than before, but I'll keep it into the harmonics mode for now so that I get a better sound. Okay, so I found out that if you keep the ratio about an integer multiple of this, about the integer multiples, you get quite okay sounding patches. You can see I have kept it around 2 here. I will just shape the sound a little bit with just these controls. Okay, so this is sounding okay. Let me turn down the tempo a bit. Let's take a listen. Let me start cranking up this operator 2 section here and put this into some balance. Okay, this is sounding quite okay right now. So let me explain to you what these two things are. This is basically octave. You go down the octave, you go up the octave by turning this knob here. this control, and this is amount of detune you can get on the patches. So let's take a listen to that. Definitely do not want this amount of detune. I'll keep it around somewhere like 6, and I'll keep this one 0 only. Okay, so right now this is sounding quite okay. Let me quickly explain to you what the shift is. Shift is basically shifting of the frequencies here. So you can think of this now basically as a pitch veil. And okay, so let's go to the effects section of this synth. Basically, you get filter and a resonance. So you have different kinds of filter here: silk, low pass saturation, low pass dirt, band pass. You also get a comb filter and a wobble filter. I found out that comb filters work quite okay if you want to create some strings sounding patches. So let me turn this around here and let's take a listen to that. Okay, so you are getting somewhat kind of some bowing kind of motion here. Spatializer is just like a delay section with a feedback. You get all these different modes. I haven't tried it yet, so I'm in no position to comment about this. But let's just crank it. This is basically the panning section here, and you can modulate the panning section by this. You go higher, you get a feel of spinning, something like rotary speaker. So let me keep this at the bottom. I do not want my sound to be moving. You get the delay time here. It's quantized. You can mix it up. I keep a little bit of delay in my patch, and you get a reverb here. Okay, so this is quite okay. Let me turn down this octaves. Okay, this is still sounding a little bit harsh to me. Let me just shape this. Okay, let me quickly explain to you what this thing right here is. By far, this is the most, I think this is the most important section here. This is the LFO section. So basically, these 16 dots are the 16 different LFOs here. So you can control the rate of these, turning this knob. The jitter amount provides randomness into the motion. If 50% right here gets the highest amount of randomness. If you go above 50%, you see some amount of agreement in their moment. So, and you also get here the retrigger modes. You get a linear up mode, you get the linear down mode, and then you get some kind of a sine motion. You also have retrigger options here. So if it's in MIDI, whenever you click a MIDI note, you get these LFOs will retrigger. You can also get a collision retrigger here. Collision is basically when these two LFOs collide. It will again retrigger. You can see that happening right here now. And again, there is free. So when you turn this into free mode, it will go into continuous motion here. So let me explain to you what this phase here is. Phase, when you turn up the phase, it will randomly choose any position to start. And when you crank up the jitter, again, 50% here gives you maximum randomness. And if you crank it up to 100%, you basically get the shape here only. And when you crank up this quantized mode, you will only hit some quantized positions in the LFO here. Gravitation control is basically like turning up the gravity. These small dots will slowly hit the ground and not rise up like if you have turned on the gravity for them. So let me turn this off. I don't want that. I want this to be happening at a faster rate. I will quickly. Okay. Let me turn the jitter off. I don't want any kind of jitter. Let me quickly move it back. Let me turn the speed up. Okay, so we have it going like a snake. Again, you get the LFO2, same controls here also. But instead of quantized, you get as an edge, which is, I think, some hold option. Okay, let's not go into that. Let's put it into some random motion here because I wanted to keep it in free mode. Okay, so now I have set the LFOs here. I'll apply this to. Okay, so you get these buttons right underneath of these sections here. You can simply choose any of this to be modulated by these two LFOs here. You get the options for LFO1, LFO2, LFO-RM, mod envelope, ARP envelope. Okay, I'll explain to you about this ARP later in this video. Again, you can simply crank it up, you can put it down, you can exponentially crank it up, logarithmically put it down. Okay, so let me show you how it happens. Put the LFO1 here and okay, so as I've cranked it up, you can see this moving in a similar fashion to the LFO1. If you crank it in the bottom, it's going like this. Okay, so let us just hear the effect of this. Okay, so this is again some kind of rotary feeling. I do not want it, but I do want some kind of. Also, here you get. Okay, so this synth has actually 16 voices, and you can choose either of these options. You can have the even sounds modulated by these waves. You can see that, or you can choose only the thirds. Okay, so that kind of effect can be used for creating some kind of randomness here, so I would apply just a little bit, but I'll choose the LFO too because it's more random. Okay, so that is quite okay here. I will apply a little bit of this to jitter also. A little bit here also. Okay, by far now this is sounding just like any ordinary synth, but you get. Okay, so let's come to this ARP section here. This is kind of a unique thing. By ARP, you may think like this is an arpeggiator section, but this is not a regular arpeggiator. You can think of this more like a step sequencer. So you get different modes here. You get clock mode, you get threshold mode, you get another threshold mode, and then you get a collision mode. So basically, the clock mode, you can see this little dot here. It is going. It is going. So this is a clock mode. You get the sound only when. Okay, so you get the levels when the clock hits either of the positions here. So depending on the position of LFOs here, you get the sounds and you get the rate. Okay, so if you turn up the rate, the LFO will move fast. If you turn up the rate to less, the LFO will move in the backward directions. Okay, that was quite unique for me. I also haven't spent much time on this, and so I don't know much about it. Uh, okay, so basically, what you can do is you can mix the amount of synths that you're hearing and the arpeggiations happening. So let's crank that up. Okay, so that sounds quite less. Let me crank this. Okay, so you don't get this regular kind of feel. Uh, Basically, in universe, everything is kind of like chaotic. So you don't get this regular patterns quite often. So let me turn this up to the threshold mode. Okay, so in this threshold mode, you get sounds when. Okay, so this is kind of a green right now. So you get sounds when the LFO1, this LFO hits this threshold bar here. You can change the position of threshold. I do not want it happening in the regular position, so I'll turn this into second mode, which is kind of a different color. So you get the sounds only when LFO2 hits this threshold bar. Let's take a listen to that. like that sound. Okay, so you get this XY kind of button here. This controls the speed. If you go to the right side, you're increasing the speed of LFO2. If you move in the upwards direction, you're increasing the speed of LFO1. Let me just increase the speed of LFO2 and let's take a listen to this. Okay, again, there's the decay option here that controls the decay of the sound coming from the ARP section. I'll turn this a little bit less. Can you listen? And I'll crank this decay button. Let me just turn this into only ARP mode. Let's take a listen to that. This can quickly turn into rhythmic sounds. Let me crank the speed a little bit less. Okay, that's the kind of chaos I like. So let me turn this back here. I do not like this. Turn this back to this octave here. Let's play with the effects section here. Let me try a different kind of filter. Let's go for silk. Okay, I don't like this. Let me go back to comb filter. Let me. Okay, so operator balance here. This is again also similar to this. This controls the amount of sounds you're hearing from either of the operator, regardless of where this fader is. Okay, so let me turn this back. I'd go simply for the silk here. Okay, I think I don't like that again. Let me turn this back here. Okay, so okay, this sounds quite like something I wanted to create, but I know this is not perfect. this video wasn't supposed to be perfect because I'm trying this for first time, I think. So let me quickly explain to you this amazing section here. Okay, so you get these different planets here. Let me turn this on. So this is like an XY now, but you are not controlling just two parameters here. You get different kinds of parameter here. So just like here in this. Okay, so these things can also be automated. You just have to click here and you can just choose to automate here. You can automate the ADSR envelope. Again, right here you see these different kinds of buttons here. You see the similar controls in the orbit section here. And okay, so right here you get the filter cutoff. This is like you can change the amount here and you can crank up the radius. So whenever you're going closer to the radius, you are getting an effect from this filter cutoff, and it's reducing by this certain amount here. Okay, so whenever you get close to this section, it will start affecting the filter cutoff. So right now we have a comb filter, so we do not want it to be affected because it can sound crazy. Like, so I just keep it there. I'll play with all the different controls here. Uh, Here you have the operator balance. I think we can change that. Let's turn that up. You get the ratio of the operator balance. I don't want to. You get the form. Okay, I want the form to go down when I go close to this planet here. And you get the amount of jitter. I want the amount of jitter to increase when I go to closer to this and crank up the radius. Lever here basically controls the increase or decrease in the level when you go close to either of these planets, and basically this is like a simple level. So you don't want to change that, and this is like a simple pan here. Form. I want the form to reduce. Okay, again there was a form right here. Okay, so I don't know. Oh, shift. I don't want to turn that. You get the delay, reverb mix. I want the reverb to just go crazy when I'm closer to this planet. Let me just place these planets so I can. Okay, just place these things so I can move. Uh, in okay fashion. Brightness. Want the brightness to reduce. I'll keep that here. Uh, Not quite okay. Form and brightness. I want both of them here. Keep it here, and this is not being modulated. So let us take a listen to that. Okay, so as you can see, you can set this planets anywhere here, and you can also record. Okay, so if you turn this record mode, you can also record some moments here, and you get the randomization options here. You can randomize the planets, you can randomize the amount that are dialed into this. You can also randomize the master recorder here. And basically, I do not. Okay, let us just try once. Let's randomize the objects. Let us randomize the master recorder also. I think I'll have to turn on the master recorder first. Okay, you can see that moving. You can see that moving on its own. This can create a crazy feel. Let me initialize everything. All okay. Back to where should be. I want the jitter to reduce. Want the reverb to go high. Want the brightness to reduce. Keep that here. The form to reduce. Want again. Again on the form to reduce here. And with this, I'll just finish this quite a little bit of walkthrough, and you can go here and save your presets. Thank you for watching.